Hi, my name is Alec Dalton Matthew Burdette, which is a mouthful, but Dalton's fine. And this is a little bit about me. My love for film really came at a very young age. I used to live right next door to my grandparents' house, and almost every day I would walk to their house and I would just lay in bed with my mama and watch movies all day with her. And we would watch like B movies from the 50s. We would go to the Sci-Fi Channel and watch all those like horrifically bad TV movies that they made, but then we also watch classics like Casablanca, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, things like that. And I have just such a fun memory watching movies with her, and each time we watch a movie together, I just fell in love with it more and more. And eventually I started discovering movies on my own and realizing that, my fascination with them could be more than just a fascination and a hobby. It's something that I could actually try to do. And I love making movies just as much as I love watching them, and I try to do both as often as I can. That is a good question. They're actually behind me. In posters on the wall, because I'm that guy, but they would be in no particular order. Jaws, because I think the first blockbuster, and the fact that it's still a really great character piece of a film, and the fact that that movie went through so many production problems and they were still able to pull off a movie that I think is damn near perfect, is amazing. Rocky, which I think is an incredible character piece, and it really just shows the inspiration a movie can bring you, like just an emotional feeling of wanting a fictional character to do well. It's sort of a fascinating concept when you think of it that way, but that movie pulls that off in incredible fashion. The next would be Star Wars, or the entire, original Star Wars trilogy. I think the masterful storytelling and the amazing world that's built within that film and those films, and the way you just fall in love with each of those characters, and to the point where you feel personally connected with them throughout your lives, is just something that was something someone took a pen and wrote that on a piece of paper, and it changed the world. And I think you can't really talk about inspiring movies without talking about Star Wars. And lastly, I'd say one of the big ones is Richard Donner's Superman movie with Christopher Reeve as Superman. While parts of that movie don't age well, I think a majority of it is still a fantastic film, and it's just an amazing performance, and just the way that movie just exonerates joy in the viewer, and the way it was able to construct its story but still be lighthearted and fun, and just be the Superman that I think the world needs always, not just during that time or right now. Just the way that it was able to pull that off, and the amazing performance Christopher Reeve gives. There's something in each of those films that I really like to draw from, and there's more, but it would take me forever to talk about every film that's ever inspired me. But a filmmaker that I really, really am inspired by is Kevin Smith. I think that the way that his movies are very down to earth, and he creates characters and puts them in real world situations, but they're also not archetypes. Like, in Clerks, for example, you have the people working behind the counter, but they're also very intelligent. They're so much smarter than the situation they're in, but they weren't smart enough to figure out how to get past that, and they're at that perfect medium, where you see that, in real life, it's very smart and intelligent people in those situations. They just haven't figured out how to get out of them. Obviously, in terms of like other people that inspire me, there's the big ones like Spielberg, Kubrick, Hitchcock, but I think they're on like their own separate tier. But in terms of people working today, Christopher Nolan, just the way that guy cracks out excellence consistently and just really makes you think about the world and the film you just watched is insane. Another one would probably be Taika Waititi, the way that he's able to create great characters and flesh them out through comedies and use his unique style on different types of movies, I think is really fascinating. Ridley Scott is another one. Just, his movies are absolutely beautiful looking, and the way that he can not only tell a great story but have a movie that looks damn near perfect is... I can't do that, and it's really just insane to watch one of his films and just wonder how that is even possible. Yet, there are a lot of stories about people who made it, and when you think about people who make it, you think that, they seem not human, but when you hear how they got where they did, you realize that they're kind of just like you. And I've already mentioned it before, but Kevin Smith, he dropped out of film school, and he maxed out all his credit cards because he wanted to make a movie really bad, and it happened to work out great for him. A story like that is very inspiring, and it teaches me that I don't need a huge budget to be able to make films or short films. I mean, obviously they'd help, and I would like money. I really would, to make these movies. But, whenever I'm feeling like I should give up or I should not really, maybe I won't shoot that film. It was a good idea. Maybe I shouldn't write it. I think about the fact that there are people who tried so hard with nothing and still made it, and it's really inspiring. I mean, and when it comes to like filmmaking, I enjoy all aspects of it. I mean, obviously, I prefer writing or directing, but producing in the moment, it sucks. Like I don't like planning. I don't like budgeting. I don't like doing any of that stuff. But it's fundamentally, arguably, the most important part of the movie. And without a good producer, there's no film. I also really like editing. It's very difficult, and sometimes you want to take a computer and just chuck it out the nearest window. But it's so rewarding when you finish your edit and you watch it into something you're proud of. It's just such an amazing experience. And I've gotten into acting a little bit. I like acting. I used to hate it. But, it's nice when you get some certain feedback of people telling you, like, hey, maybe you should go on camera more. And while I'm still not entirely comfortable with it, I'm getting more accustomed to acting. It is fun to be in your own stuff. But, I like all sorts of things for different reasons. Filmmaking's no cakewalk. There are many challenges you have to face. One of them, the challenge I face every time is that I don't have any money to really make anything. I just have to save up, buy equipment, and then hopefully use that piece of equipment on a film later and not break it and keep it. Specifically, recently, the most recent short film I made was called The Long Hard Day, and that was in production for practically an entire year. And it shouldn't have been. It was a comedy that should have been knocked out easily in about a week, maybe less than that. And there were so many schedule changes, so many things we had to reshoot, we had to rewrite. There were just tons of things that we had to try again and again and again to get it right. But I like the film, but there are still things I wish were better about it. But at the end of the day, I worked hard, the entire team did, and we got the film done. And the fact that we were able to get it done and that we've received some positive feedback of people saying that they really enjoyed the humor in it, it's really nice and rewarding, and that's why we do it. There's all sorts of challenges you face. Like, I got to film a lot of fight scenes in a building that had no AC, which I don't recommend to anybody. That was awful. But, there can be challenges from the financial level to the technical level to the emotional level. But, it's something that you just have to learn to overcome as you go. There are a few things that I would like to, one day in my films, shed some light on. And hopefully soon in my short films, I'll start, having my voice with what I want to say. That I think would be important, but obviously I want to wait on some of them to really go more into it when I have a budget and I'm able to make a feature film and get the story out there. But there's two main things. One of them is I really want to get the word out on alcoholism, alcohol addiction, and overcoming that. I've never drank alcohol really personally, but I used to work with a program that helped a lot of students in drug and alcohol recovery, and working with those people and seeing how amazing they were and the real challenges they've had to overcome, and not only that, but the stigma that they face, whether it's in the workplace or socially among friends. It's horrible, and they're really doing everything they can to improve themselves and make their lives better. Like, they made that step to, like, I want to improve my life and stop and get sober, yet they're nothing but stigmatized. And I think that the world needs to open up more and see that there doesn't need to be a stigma there, and that all people need to be helped. And that's something that I really like to go into more. And another thing, this is more psychological, but too many times personally I've seen, whether it's someone's parents or someone's friends, I've seen people just succumb under the mental pressure of expectation. And I think that people don't understand the dangerous consequences of putting expectations on somebody that either they can't meet or make them feel like they can't meet it. I grew up surrounded by a lot of smart people, and the smartest people probably in many states, and a lot of them succumbed to pressure that's been put on them by the school system and put on them by their parents. And just, I really want to get the word out and just show how dangerous that can be and the negative effects it can have. It can really change who you are as a human being if you succumb to that pressure and you just don't want to do what you were passionate about anymore. And it's a scary thing to see, and I hope to one day make something that reflects how important it is to not, mentally burden or hurt someone with expectations. My creative process is kind of weird, but also just kind of whatever. When it comes to writing a script, sometimes I'm just sitting there and an idea will pop into my head, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to start figuring this out. And I'll write down the idea, and I'll just start writing and figuring it out, and then draft 1 turns into draft 7, and then bam, you have a short script. Sometimes I'll just be at Walmart or something, and someone will say something so funny, and I just take that and turn it into a story. Like, why would someone say that? Maybe they were doing this or this or this, and just kind of, picking one thing and creating a story out of it. And sometimes I'll literally just have a feeling or an emotion of like, I want to convey this emotion, or I want to convey this feeling, and think of a story that can sort of convey that feeling, but not in an on-the-nose way, in a very, artistic way. At least I try to be. Who knows if I'm actually going to be that good at it. But also, my writing process is not favorable amongst many writers. A lot of writers, when they write things, they like to build everything, build the entire world that the film takes place in, build every single character backstory, every single building and landmark in the script, and get it all down. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's probably actually the right way to do it. But me personally, I just start writing. And I finish, maybe I'll add stuff to the beginning, I'll add stuff to the end, and then I go through and I fix the inconsistencies and just keep writing draft after draft after draft until I think it's something that's actually pretty good. Because sometimes that first draft, you just need to get your ideas on paper. And that's just how I like to write. It makes me more comfortable. But yeah, I'd say that's kind of really my creative process. When you face problems on set, and when, your computer crashes the 5th time from editing a movie that's over 20 minutes on your laptop that's 5 years old, and I'm complaining, but you can do all the complaints in the world, and I think the drive that gets me to kind of get past all the difficulties and really just want to finish it, but not only finish it, but finish it in a way that I think is satisfactory, and finish the movie that I sought out to make. I think the thing that really drives me to do that is just knowing how good it's going to feel when that end product's done and I'm watching it with all my friends and my family, and just being able to show someone something I made and just say, this is for you. Negative criticism, I've gotten it before, and I actually appreciate it. It really helps build what you want to do and who you are. Obviously, I love positive criticism. I'm kind of an attention whore. I love it all, but it's so important to me that when I make something, I just want someone to watch it and just know that, hey, I made that because this is what I love to do, and I made it because I want you to watch it. I want someone to watch it. And just that feeling is the best feeling in the entire world, and you just have to think about that feeling when you're down on set or when you don't think you can get it done. Just know that if you stop now, then there's going to be someone out there who's not going to see the thing that you made for them. I think the biggest thing I want to achieve in film, obviously I love movie nights and productions, and I hope that we can continue to grow and make things together and do short films and the podcast and grow a fan base. That'd be a wonderful dream to come true. But the main thing I want to do in film is I want to direct a feature film that gets a wide theatrical release. I could die after that happened. That's just my ultimate dream. It's everything I want. And hopefully, through hard work, through support of friends and family, through faith, maybe one day it can happen. And if it does, it's going to be the best day ever. I think I would say to anyone who really has a passion about something, but isn't sure about the risks and isn't sure about if it's something that they should pursue, those are reasonable thoughts to have, and are thoughts that I still have, but I wouldn't choose where my life is any other way. And I've gone through a lot of challenges, financially, mentally, physically, just trying to get, to a position where I can be constantly creating. And while right now it's not very great in terms of, my situation, I have a lot of faith in it, and at least I get to wake up every day knowing that I'm going to do what I love. And I can't emphasize enough to anyone out there how important it is to feel that every day. Even if you feel like you can't do it, even if you feel like it's going to be hard, you're not going to have much money. That's all true. But you get to live your life knowing that you're doing what you want to do. And there's nothing like it. Thank you.